Hey guys, welcome back to At the Table. Sydney here, and today is National Pancake Day. So we actually have two National Pancake Days that we celebrate. There's one in February, and then there's also another one in September. So we love pancakes so much, we just had to celebrate it 2 times a year. And if you think about it, pancakes, there are tons of different varieties out there. Worldwide, people make pancakes in all different ways. So here in America, we think about pancakes as usually our sugared up pancake, right? So you've got like a buttermilk pancake with maybe some fruit in it, maybe some chocolate chips, maybe some powdered sugar, but definitely smothered in syrup, right? So you think about all the sugar that we like to add to our pancakes. There are other cultures that have a variety of different pancakes. Crepes are technically the pancake, I guess, of France. When we look at a Korean recipe that we have today, we have a Korean vegetable pancake. So it's not just a sweet, that's not sweet at all. It's more focused on those vegetables, more of that savory flavor. So totally different than what we think of with the traditional American pancake. So in honor of that, I thought we would do a couple different recipes, different pancakes today. The first one we're gonna start with is called power pancakes or waffles. You could make this as a waffle recipe if you'd like. This one is from our Med Instead of Meds. And of course, since you're with me, we're on At the Table, we usually talk about kind of healthier options. So this one is really good because it is loaded. It actually has lots of protein in there. We're using oats, so it's gonna be whole grain as well. And it's just a little bit different. You could still add your maple syrup if you want to. You could still add your fruit, but this is kind of it is healthier, but it is has more fiber, has more nutrients in it than your traditional flapjack that you would think of. So we are gonna go ahead and get started with that. First thing is we're just gonna add everything to our bowl. So it's pretty simple. I am gonna go ahead and turn on our stove. Got my nice big pan here for our pancakes. And for this, we need 2 eggs. So I'll go ahead and start with those. And you can also do this in a blender as well. So in the recipe, you have the option to use Greek yogurt or cottage cheese. And I do love cottage cheese. I probably use cottage cheese a little bit more at home than I do Greek yogurt. But it is, if you're doing the cottage cheese, you want it to be nice and blended, like what you would think with your typical pancake batter. So a blender would be best. But if you're doing the Greek yogurt, you can just do this in a bowl, just like what we're doing today. All right, so then we need some Greek yogurt here. We're just doing 3/4 of a cup. And this is where we're getting that extra protein in. So we're getting a little bit more protein versus your typical pancake is really just gonna be mostly carbs and sugar, and it's not gonna be, I would say, as filling for a long lasting. So if you think about an ideal breakfast, you would have some protein in there, you would have some carbs, which give you that energy, and you would have some little bit of fats in there as well. But we want our breakfast to, of course, last us for a longer period of time. So that is where our protein comes in, and we're getting those eggs, which have some good fats in there. And we are actually gonna use some olive oil to cook these in. You could, of course, do butter if you choose, or you could even do a vegetable oil. My mom always used vegetable oil growing up. That would be a healthier option than probably the butter. Okay, and then we have a little bit of oats. So we're doing 1/2 cup of old-fashioned oats here. This is what helps to give us our extra fiber. And that fiber is gonna help to tie us over for longer throughout the day, so we won't be super hungry an hour after we eat. And then we also we're gonna add a little bit of, you could do maple syrup or honey. Since we did Greek yogurt, that one is gonna be more of a tangy yogurt versus a sweet yogurt. So this just helps to balance out. You know, we talked about our flavors, foundations of flavor, and our Greek yogurt's very tangy, a little bit more, I would say, bitter. You need that sweetness to kind of counteract some of that tanginess. All right, then we have a little bit of baking powder. So just 2 teaspoons of baking powder. 1, 2. And we're gonna do a little bit of vanilla extract as well. It's just half a teaspoon, so I'm just doing a little spritz. That should be about it. And you're gonna stir this all up. Now, last month we talked about, you know, foods that you could make for your little ones. I'm always thinking about what I could make for my little guy, if this would be appropriate for him. This would not be bad. It does have a little bit of added sugar, but this would be a great kid-friendly recipe too. So we're just gonna mix it up, and we are gonna get our pan nice and hot. When I see you back in just a second, we will get these on the pan and start cooking them.
Most aging adults want to stay in their homes as long as possible. And as your loved ones get older, you want to support them, even when you can't be there. Star is proud to offer Star Alert. This new system is now mobile and has GPS compatibility, so your loved ones can live their lives and you can have peace of mind, knowing they can get the help they need with just the simple push of a button. The new Star Alert also offers automatic fall detection, so help will be alerted even if they can't press the button. Call and ask about Star Alert today.
Hey guys, welcome back. So our mix is all done. Our pan is nice and hot. So we are gonna go ahead, let me move my oil around, and start cooking our pancakes. We wanna do about 1/4 cup of the batter. So I like to just use a measuring cup. It's much easier. I might have to turn my pan on just a little bit more because we didn't hear sizzle, did we? We're going to turn it up just a little bit. This should make, I think, about 6 pancakes. Yeah, we should be able to reach about 6. All right, and usually we want about 4 minutes per side and kind of let that bubble up nicely. And then once it's nice and bubbly, we'll start to flip it. So we'll kind of let it do its thing. My pan does need to heat up just a little bit more. What we're gonna do next, I'm gonna go ahead and start on some of the ingredients for our vegetable pancakes. So for these, we are using zucchini, and we are gonna need, I don't even need to do that. We are gonna grate this. So there is a little bit of extra work that's going into these. But again, this is going to be more of that savory pancake. So for this one, we have that zucchini, we've got some carrots, is a little flour mixture that we're going to be making. And then we also have a dipping sauce as well. So our dipping sauce is like soy sauce and sesame oil and rice wine vinegar. So that will be really good. So a little bit of a different variety than what we think of with traditional pancakes. The other thing we're gonna do is we are gonna make sure that we squeeze all of the water out of our zucchini and our carrots as well, because we wanna make sure that our pancakes aren't super watery and that our batter actually stays in the consistency that we want it to be. This is looking pretty good. Now, I did want to touch, last time we talked all about foundations of flavor, and today I wanted to kind of touch on that a little bit more. We really focused on the flavor profiles last time. There are a couple other things that really are the foundations of flavor. So not just the flavor part, but the things that help to kind of go along with our flavor. That anytime we are eating foods, these are the things that we consider. And we mentioned it a little bit, but I want to dive a little bit deeper. So when you think about the foundation. So what creates our flavors and helps to make things taste a certain way? We have, of course, the actual flavor, which are those five, the five that we mentioned. So sweet, spicy, salty or umami, sour, and there's one more that's completely left my brain. Sour, sweet, spicy, bitterness. So in addition to just those, we also have the aroma. So the way things are smelling, that can affect the flavor. So you think about sometimes when you smell certain things, it might start to taste a certain way. So we absolutely use our nose whenever we are eating. You think about if you're sick, how does food taste? It starts to get kind of bland, right? You might think, oh, I'm sick, things don't have any flavor, nothing tastes good. So a lot of that's just because you're sick, your aroma has been taken from you. Another foundation is gonna be that temperature. So it's taste, it's temperature, it's texture, it's mouthfeel. There we go. That is the actual term. So the temperature of food is going to change the way things feel in your mouth. Again, if you think about that carrot analogy I gave you. So if you have a roasted carrot that's hot, it's cooked a little bit differently versus your raw carrot, which is cold. You have to chew, you bite into it, it's kind of crunchy. Those taste very different. So their texture is different and their temperature is different. You can even think of the exact same food that is served hot or cold and how that can change the way a flavor is. There's a lot of dips that if you serve it hot, it tastes one way. If you serve it cold, it tastes an entirely different way. So when we're thinking about what makes up how a food tastes to us, absolutely all three of those things need to come into play. It's not just about the flavor of something you're eating. All right, so we are getting some bubbles. Again, this is gonna have to cook for about 4 minutes, so we want it to go a little bit longer. I'll scoot this to the side. I'll go ahead and start our carrot. And doing the same thing, we're just grating this. So this is, we want about a cup of carrots as well. And we wanna get all that water out of this too. So I'm gonna finish grating this up and we will see you guys back in just 1 minute.
Eastern North Carolina is a beautiful place where we gladly choose to call home. And we strive to provide the best communications services. STAR is committed to improving communications to all our service areas because we want to improve the communities where we not only work, but also live. STAR Communications. We are neighbors serving neighbors.
Hey guys, welcome back. So our pancakes are done. I could start smelling them and they've got a nice crispy kind of crust on the outside. So just flipping those over. I did kind of mess up one, my first flip. Sometimes you just gotta get in the groove of your flip game. But the rest of them I did okay. So we're gonna let those continue to cook a little bit more. And we're gonna continue working on our little mixture here. So I have some of our zucchini already done. I just squeezed that. We need, again, a whole entire cup. So let's measure this. It might actually be at a cup. I thought we might need a little more. We do. We're gonna do just a little bit more zucchini and then that should be ready. Again, we wanna make sure that we are getting, and just so you guys can see what I'm doing here, trying to make sure that I'm kind of rubbing. We're just watching those fingers because whenever you're using a grater, there's a lot of accidents can tend to happen. I like these box graters the best, more so than the kind you kind of lay across your bowl, because I feel like when you use a box grater, it does a lot better job of keeping you safe, honestly. when we have the ones that lay down, it can move very easily. So what we need next is we're gonna put some paper towels here, and I'm just gonna squeeze. And I have my bowl, and I am just squeezing. You guys can see all the juice that's coming out of that. And it leaves you with a lot less zucchini than what you had. So keep in mind, even if it looks like it's about enough, you probably need to do just a little bit more. So I'm gonna do the same thing with my carrots here. Just putting it in my paper towel. There's probably a fancier way to do this, and I just don't know what it is. This is good old faithful, easy way to go. And I'm gonna throw that in. So we still got more carrots to mix up. But meanwhile, I think our pancakes are actually already done because I can just smell them. So we'll go ahead and move these off. And I've got just a little bit more left to cook that we can do while we're finishing up our Korean pancakes. So sometimes here you might need a little bit of extra oil, but I think we're gonna try to just go with what oil we've got because I think it looks pretty good. There's that sizzle we were looking for earlier. And I actually am getting an extra pancake out of this. So I mentioned it only makes, I think it was 6. I got like 6 and a little more than a half. So a little bit bigger than more than what we had originally. All right, we're gonna continue grating that carrot up. And I love this just for something different. I feel like these vegetable pancakes would be a great option more for dinner. You know, you think about that savory pancake of something that might have some more vegetables in it. This would still be good for breakfast, but we're gonna be using a different dipping sauce, and I don't feel like that would flow quite as well for our breakfast meal. All right, pretty good. Hard to get as much carrots as hard to grate carrots and get as much as we need compared to what we had before. Now you could use the already pre-shredded carrots. The only thing with that is the water in them, it's gonna be more difficult to squeeze that water out because it is kind of dried out more so because it's not freshly grated. So I really feel like doing this freshly grating it is best. You could also use a food processor here to grate it for you, and that would take some of this extra handiwork out of what we are doing. The other thing that we are adding is really slicely cut green onions. And from what I have seen in Korean pancakes, that is a pretty big staple for those Korean pancakes, is adding the green onion. This recipe is from MJ and Hungry Man, and whenever we did our kids recipes, when we had Virginia Stage on, that was one of her recipes, was that carrot sauce. So she is Korean, and she was talking about how great this is. This is a kind of a recipe that she thinks about. She'll crave that is kind of her mom's recipe. So I feel like it's a pretty good version here. So I'm gonna squeeze this out, and then I think we should be good on our grated carrot. So I'm gonna finish squeezing and throw this all together, and then we'll get to finishing up our pancakes.
Providing fewer commutes, more backyard offices, and crystal clear meetings. Providing less, you froze up, and more presence in your presentations. providing a better internet experience. Providing possible.
Hey guys, welcome back. So our pancakes are all done. They look delicious. I did have a little nibble and it tastes delicious. Does have a slight sweetness to it of what we typically think with our American pancakes, but it's not overly sweet. So we could add some blackberries to this, which is what we'll do today. You could do other berries. You could throw some cinnamon in there, some chocolate chips, anything to make it to your liking. But they look really good and they taste good. So we're gonna set those to the side. I'll put them over here for now. And we're gonna finish up working on our Korean vegetable pancakes. So what we need next, this is kind of like our batter. So we're doing a cup of flour. All-purpose flour is best consistency-wise. This is what we want. If we do whole wheat flour, while you get a little more fiber, it's definitely going to change the texture of the pancake itself. All right, and then we need 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. Right here. And we're doing all the dry ingredients by themselves, and then we'll add in the rest of the ingredients in just a minute. We're doing a little bit of salt. So this is just about 3/4 of a teaspoon, just kind of eyeballing that. And a little garlic powder. Again, this is a little savory. It's about a teaspoon of garlic powder. Y'all know I love garlic, so we got a little more than that. Wouldn't hurt me any. And then the next thing that we are gonna add is our water. So you need cold water. I wanna combine this first just to make sure it's all blended. And make sure that you have nice cold water, 1 whole cup of that. And we'll start mixing it together. Just until it's nice and thick. And I do still have my pan on, so it's gonna stay nice and heated. You can use any type of oil that you like here. We're gonna stick with olive oil because it's what we use most frequently here on At the Table and in my home personally and in our office. You could do a vegetable oil or avocado oil or something of that, like that if you'd like. So we've got a really thick consistency. Hopefully you guys can see kind of how that looks, but what you would think with your typical thick pancake batter. We don't want to over mix this, so just make sure that, you know, get it to be mixed through, but not necessarily overdoing it. So next we're going to add in our vegetables, and I did also add in about 1/2 cup of sliced green onions that I went ahead and cut those while we were on break. We're just going to set that to the side, and we're just going to stir all of this together. We want this until it's nice and mixed through. All the vegetables are coated, and that will help to cook those up and keep them together. Because if we don't get them nice and coated, we're going to have some rogue little vegetable pieces happening. That looks good. It's almost like one big ball of vegetables in our batter. So looks good, nice and blended well. So I'm gonna throw in my oil here just until my pan is nice and covered. And again, making sure that is nice and hot. We do want to kind of work quickly with this. So we're gonna cook these for about 4 to 5 minutes per pancake. Throw in our pancake down, depending on size of your pan, how big you want your pancakes, all of that, and kind of flatten them. They do start to cook pretty quick. I need to turn my pan back up. Keep turning it down a little bit in between. These look good. So this would kind of be a good thing for brunch if you're looking for a good brunch recipe. You're still getting those vegetables in there, but getting that savory flavor as well. And just something a little bit different. These remind me a lot of fritters, whenever you think about like egg fritter or something of that nature. Very similar to that, but of course we don't have egg in ours. I did look at another recipe and they use sweet potato in here instead of carrot. So kind of thinking of something sweet along with our vegetables. You want at least 2.5 cups of vegetables here. So any way that you can get any vegetable you like, if you want to do a little extra, you can. So same as our other pancakes, we're going to let those get nice and crispy and brown on one side. While that is working, we'll go ahead and do our sauce. So I already have my green onions and my garlic all in our little bowl here. The rest of our sauce stuff, this is a dipping sauce. We're going to do some soy sauce here. You could also do coconut aminos if you would prefer that instead of the soy. However, I was looking at the sodium because this was a discussion we had a little bit earlier amongst our crew here. This says for a tablespoon, you're getting about 23% of your daily value of sodium. And this one, you look at it and it says 140 milligrams, 6%. Sounds good, but the serving size is only 1 teaspoon. So there's 3 teaspoons in a tablespoon, so 6 times 3, that's 18%. So not much off from our reduced sodium soy sauce, still less, but it's not a super big amount. So always make sure you're checking this serving size, because sometimes you take a quick peek at it and it looks like it's better for you. But if you actually read the serving size, you might see it's very similar. It might be almost the same. So next we're adding that rice wine vinegar. Just doing a tablespoon of that. We're going to do a little bit of sesame oil. This is 2 teaspoons, so 1, 2. And this one actually does call for maple syrup to give us a little bit of sweetness in our sauce here. Remember that balance that we've talked about. So 2 teaspoons of this. That might have been a little extra. And then I've already got my garlic and green onion, and we're just going to add some sesame seeds. And it said about 1/2 teaspoon. I'm just kind of going to eyeball here. Might be a little more, but I like sesame seeds. So then you mix it up, and that is your sauce. So looks good. It's different. We're going to flip these because I want to show you guys what they look like on the other side really quick. Probably want them to be a little bit more crispy than that, but you can see how it's getting nice and brown. And it's also all one cohesive pancake. Looks good. It smells good. We're going to let these things keep cooking and finish these up. We'll show you guys what they look like when they're all done. Hope you guys enjoy some pancakes today, and we'll see you guys back next time on At the Table.